Hey guys, welcome to UBuildIt Fort Worth. I'm Frank Shelton, and for the next 30-40 minutes, we're going to go through our UBuildIt presentation. Hope that you find this informative. As always, you can reach out to us by phone, email, and follow up with us if you saw something that you liked that we talked about today, and be happy to answer any questions. At the link below, you can ask some questions and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So with that being said, let me get started. Our UBuildIt office is located on the west side of Fort Worth. We've been in business since 2007. So the reason why I wanted to bring that up is we're coming up quickly on our 14-year anniversary, and so we're really excited about that. And a lot has changed. And today I'm gonna go through the presentation, but I also want to talk about some commonly asked questions, and I think really just some misconceptions that are out there in the construction world today. And so let me just do a quick little run through on everything that we do here for you at UBuildIt, and I think you'll be excited about that. So why use UBuildIt? Thousands of families across the United States have done this, and really just think about any type of building format, program, material. We've seen it happen anywhere from basements. Yeah, basements in Texas. I know it's kind of a odd thing, but we've done them. And SIPs, which is structurally insulated panels. We've done ICF homes. So you think about all the different types of building that's out there, and we've done those. And so our consultants have a lot of knowledge on different building methods and different building materials. So we're not just helping you build a home, but we're helping educate you on what might be the best building method for you. And so it's a great program. Like I said, we've been in business since 2007, and hundreds of homes across the Metroplex, and just about any type of neighborhood or out in the country, we've done it. And so with our program, there's various financing options. The big thing that I always want to get across to people is the importance of early planning. We're going to talk about that quite a bit today, and what you'll need to know before getting started, how to get plans, those kind of things we're going to talk about as well. So in a nutshell, this really lays out how our program works. Is if you think about traditional building method, hiring a builder and them coming and doing it for you. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. I still do that for people. And so it's a great way to build a home, really just puts you in the position of just making really more of the aesthetic decisions, the finish outs, those kind of things, and really letting someone else, do all the day-to-day for you. Now, with that, there's a price to be paid. And so with that, you're going to give up some control. Builders, definitely going to want to be in charge of his own project, materials that he uses, subcontractors that he uses. And then usually in this area, you're looking at anywhere from 16 to 20%, and I would say it's probably closer to 20%. Now, especially as the housing market being what it is. And so you got to really think about those things and do what's best for you. Not everybody is meant to be able to do their own project, but we feel like with our program, it sure does make it where a lot of people can. And so the doing it yourself, that circle over there on the other side, is really, if you think about just, going online, finding some subcontractors, finding some plans that you like, maybe finding some checklists, that maybe somebody has out there, and just really doing it all on your own. So that sounds, probably really exciting to some of you, and some of you it scares you to death. But if you really think about that, there's going to be some mistakes that gets made if you do it that way. And with mistakes, usually that turns into money. And so you got to really think about that. At the end of it, did you really save anything because of the potential mistakes? And of course, the time. You're having to really, do everything yourself, and so nothing's been done for you. No pathway. So you're really going to have to do everything. So there's a bigger time investment. So with our UBuildIt program, what we really did is we took the best of both of those worlds, if you will, And so having an experienced builder alongside you to guide you through, help you with the planning, to not put markups, for your materials and stuff in there. All of those things, that are, negatives on both of those, we're able to, come together and really help you with all of that. So having the confidence, having control, cost savings, the clout of having a reputable company behind you to help you and guide you is a big part of this. And then the choices. We always put the choices in your hand. We want to give you the information for you to make a good decision, but we want to make sure that you're able to make the choices and get what you want. We break it up into a planning and a construction phase. And the planning I'm going to spend quite a bit of time talking about. So let's get into that. The planning phase is really setting a realistic budget, going out, taking a look at your land. If you've already bought it, if you hadn't, helping you find land, helping you with your plans, and we'll go into in depth on these here in a second. And detailed specifications. Can't really get too say enough about that, because it is a really important part of your home is how you're going to finish it. What materials are you going to use? And that's where the specifications come in. And at the end, we give you a completed cost that you can take to the bank. So this triangle, you'll see it in our office quite a bit. If you get to come in here, we know with the COVID, we're trying to be as flexible as we can with folks. All of our meetings are available to be online now, through Zoom, or we still can meet with you here in the office. We take social distancing protocols and mask wearing and all of that to do everything we can to make you feel safe. And so, but if you come into our office, you'll definitely see this. But this triangle here is just a good example of what your house looks like, to us. And that is basically, there's 3 points of this triangle: the budget, the finish quality, and the square footage. So whenever you look at your house, everything fits into one of these categories. And so we're always going to talk to you about, if you give us a certain budget to work with and that's it, then that gives us square footage and finishes to help you get to that ultimate budget number. If you say, hey, my budget's got to be this and my square footage has got to be this, then guess what? That only leaves us finishes to work with, and hopefully that gives you more than enough to get you what you want. But we're always going to point you back to this triangle. It's a very good illustration of what, the decisions that need to be made and help you make those. The budget is a big part of this, and we like to really start with that because I think it's really important for people to have some realistic ideas before they get too far down the road. I hate to break it to you guys, but the days of being able to build a house for $80 a square foot or $100 a square foot anymore, it's just really hard to ever get anything below $100 a square foot. And so sometimes when people hear that, they immediately go, oh my gosh, that's not what I was thinking that I could do. And so it's very important to have some realistic ideas, and we can do a really good job of helping you through that. Now, this is a really important part about what we do. I don't get paid on how much you spend. And so I have no reason to tell you anything other than what something should really cost. Now, I want to always give you more than enough money in your budget for you to get things done. I think that's really important. That doesn't mean that if you decide to do something yourself, or if you have a relative or someone that does a particular trade that you might be able to get it done cheaper, that's great. We're happy for you to do that. But we want to make sure that you have a good budget for you to work with, a good budget for you to go to the bank. It's really hard for you ever to go back and get more money from the bank once you've started construction. And so it's always better to have more and not use it. It doesn't cost you really anything at all if you don't use part of the money that you used, that you said the bank, that you needed from the bank. If you don't draw it out, then it doesn't cost you anything in interest. And so a lot of people don't understand that, and so it's really important that we give you a good, solid budget for you to go to the bank with. Size and features. man, there's a lot of different decisions, for you to make. Sometimes size, people will think that they need a certain square footage, and maybe it's just more about layout than it is that. How can you successfully get a 3 or 4 bedroom, house and it not be 4,000 or 5,000 square feet, And so a lot of times we feel like the designers that we recommend do a really good job of giving you more square footage for your money, just because of the way that it's laid out. And sometimes if you're looking at an older plan, maybe it has more walls and it's not as open concept as a lot of the plans are nowadays, and so that can eat into your square footage as well. And so we'll guide you through those things. And deciding how much work you'll do. This is a big part of this too. A lot of you guys are handy and want to do some of it yourself, and certainly we encourage that. We just want to make sure that you don't do too much and you don't get yourself overcommitted. And so we feel like do a good job of making you aware of those things, still backing it up with a budget. Let's say if you want to do your own flooring, that's great, and we'll let you do that, but we're going to back it up with a flooring bid. So when it gets down to it, something changes and you can't do it like you thought, then it's still in there for you. So again, always trying to thinking about making this better for you and giving you choices. Determining the target budget. That's we talked about that a little bit, and just it's so critical. Is once we know more information, is getting that set. You come in here with an idea, and then we want to very quickly move to, hey, this is what we think that you should be able to spend on this house to get it done. And we're of course going to give you a ballpark that gives it really a true breakdown of everything from each line item. What are you going to spend on your foundation? What are you going to spend on your framing? Those kind of things. And helping you get pre-qualified. That's a big part of this as well. A lot of times when people hear about pre-qualified, they go, oh, well, my credit score is great. That's great, and I'm glad for that, but there's more to it than that. And so a lot of times, you've looked at buying an existing house, and that's a different qualification process than actually building a home. And a lot of times you got to have a land loan, and then a separate construction loan that ultimately, whenever you go to construction, it gets combined. So we walk you through all of that. A lot of times it's a little bit more documentation, maybe more money down, things like that you are definitely going to have to consider. Property is a big part of this, and so kind of a long-standing thing that I've always said is if you don't have property, let us help you. And so what that really looks like is we have a couple realtors that we work with, and then sometimes we just know about land just because we're out and about, all the time. We're building in different neighborhoods, and so I feel like we can be some big help to you. But if you'll get your land choices narrowed down to 2 or 3, let us come out and take a look at them, because not all land's created equal, right? And so some of it's going to be flat, some of it's going to be rolling hills, some of it's going to be covered in trees, some of it's going to be covered in rock. And so you need to understand what it's going to cost to develop that land and get it ready to build a house on it. And so that's why I always caution people whenever they have said, somebody's told them, hey, you can build a house for $120 a foot or $110 a foot. I always ask them, well, do you have land? And they'll go, well, no, I don't have land. Well, then how did somebody give you a price? Because if they're giving you a true picture of what the whole project's going to cost, they have to know how much it's going to cost to develop the land. Are you going to need a well? Are you going to need a septic? Do you need a road, or do you need a driveway? Are you going to need fencing? How much are we going to have to clear? So all of those things could be a significant amount of money. And so walking you through those things, having a true picture. Again, we're not getting paid on what you spend. I just want to make sure that you are aware of everything, so that part of it can be all on your budget that gets sent to the bank. It does nobody any good for you to go to the bank and not have enough money. And so we want to make sure that all of that stuff is accounted for. Plans is a big piece of this, and knowing who to use, and just really having a good connection with who's drawing your plans is really important. Now, all this being said, there's architects and there's people that, draftspeople that draw plans. In most cases, a draftsperson is a good resource. Usually it's less expensive. There's some times you absolutely need an architect, but for most standard, normal size square footages, those kind of things, a draftsperson is a really good resource. I encourage you to look at that. We have architects as well that we recommend. So we'll help you kind of navigate through that. But the one thing I would tell you is that plans on the internet, although they can be good, sometimes you don't necessarily know what area of the country that they were designed for. And so I would say at a minimum that you would find that out before you purchase those, because you really might find out that there's no space for AC unit, because here in Texas, we put our AC units in the attic, and maybe up north somewhere that there's a basement where all that stuff would go. And so it's important that you know that before you actually buy the plans. Also, you may run into an older plan on some of these internet sites, and so it's just important to get something that's up to date, so it has the most current code, but also the most current designs. And so a lot of things to consider there, and again, I feel like we do a great job of helping you with that. So let's get into a little bit about specifications. And specifications really to me are probably the part that you're not getting out there, because we really do a good job of walking you step by step through what kind of materials are out there for you. If you haven't built in the last 4 or 5 years, then there's new materials that are being used, and some of them are a lot better. Some of them we've used and checked into and would probably tell you to do something different. We feel strongly about you're saving quite a bit of money on this home, and so we feel like it's good to put money back into the home with your structural type thing. You have the foundation that you use, the type of subflooring, the type of trusses, the supports between the first and the second floor. We are firm believers in using a web truss design, and so this gives your second floor more strength, also quieter whenever the kids are running around up there in that upstairs bonus room that's right over the top of your bedroom. I know a lot of people have that in their current home, and we certainly, when we're walking through design and stuff with you, we'll talk to you about maybe better placement of that bonus space or game room or media room, so it's not over your sleeping quarters. And so that's the great thing about building a custom home, is it doesn't have to be like that. But anyway, getting back into this, web truss is a lot better product, gives the trades a better place to run their electrical, their HVAC, their plumbing, instead of notching out some of the solid structures that are out there, TGIs or dimensional lumber. Definitely better product, but a little bit more money. And so we talk to you about those kind of things, try to give you as much information as you can. Another great product that's out there right now is a product that's called Advantech, and this is your subfloor. It's a great product, very dense, water resistant. The standard products that are out there really just don't hold up as well for moisture like this does. We've had situations where they were covered in ice, for a week or two, and at the end of it, they were still in great shape. So we'll talk to you about these kind of things, and certainly everybody's situation is different, but we're trying to give you the most money, the most bang for your buck, the most value for your money. And so we'll talk to you about these things, and ultimately you get to decide. But so when someone quotes you just a number out of nowhere, you really have to ask yourself, what is in the specifications? How are they going to build my house? At the end, guess what? It looks nice. We're not going to talk bad about that at all. There's a lot of really nice products out there that makes a house finish out great, but how was it built? Was it built to your standards? Was it built for the long term? Is it a house that it looks good in the beginning, but in 5-10 years, it really looks like it's war? And so we want to talk to you about those things. We feel like, again, because of the savings, it's good to put some of that money back into the house and get a good quality home that's going to stand the course of time. So let's get into a little bit more here about good, better, best building practice. You can see product here on this slide. To the side of me is it's zip wall. We've started using this about 4 or 5 years ago. Great product. It's semi-permeable membrane, which means basically it allows air to pass through, but not moisture. And so it's good to put under brick, stucco, siding. It's just a great product, and it gives a lot of stability to your home. Of course, taping your windows, whether or not to use a tankless water heater, sometimes it's not a good fit for the type of home that you're wanting to do, and so we'll talk to you about that as well. So we get through all of that, and we're ready to talk about the job costing. So along the way, we've done what we call ballparks to make sure that we're staying with the budget that you've given us to work with. But at this point, we've completed your plans, we've completed specifications, we know what it's going to take to develop your land. And so now we're ready to send this off to all the subcontractors and suppliers and actually get hard bids. And so we're not going to just tell you, hey, this number should work. We're going to back it up with a real bid. And so this is the final step before we send it to the bank. It's to check and make sure that everything we've been working on really is holding up. This is also at the point where it's go time. I mean, so when we get these bids back, everything works out to still be within the budget that you wanted to, then we're going to tell you it's time to start building. We're going to send you to the bank. So I want to kind of pause here for a second and tell you, if you're sitting here right now and you're watching this and you're saying, hey, I'd like to start working on this, but with the way things are right now, I'm not sure that I'm fully ready to build. I would tell you that there is a lot of work that needs to happen before you build. Everything that I've talked to you about this point is really about 90 to 120 days worth of work, of good, consistent, staying after it type of work. I've seen people take 6 months, I've seen people take a year, I've seen people take a couple years, I've seen people take 90 days, I've seen people take 60 days. And so, but there is a lot of work that could be being done right now while you're waiting to feel better about what's going on, either with our COVID situation or whatever the case may be. Whatever would give you pause to say, hey, I maybe not want to build right now. I would say still, let's get started on the plan. If you're intending to build anytime in the next probably 2 to 3 years, I would say it's a good time to start planning. Because at the end of this, when we get down to the bids, we don't have to go get bids. We can stop and say, hey, we've got a good plan. We've got, what's going to take to develop the lot. We've got a good idea of what you're going to want in the specifications. Whenever you're ready to start building, all we got to do is just fall back just a little bit, firm everything up, make sure those are still the decisions that you want to go with, and we can start. And so it's just a great place to get to. And then, what people have done with us in the past is they've used that to maybe figure out exactly how much they want to spend or how much they want to start saving. Or to start developing their land. Maybe they have a larger piece of land and maybe they want to go ahead and put a shop out there, but they're not sure where the septic's going to go, where the pool's going to go. We help you with that master plan, if you will, of the whole property so that you can start doing some things. Maybe it's just to come out and put the pond in so you can, at least start fishing on your property until you build your house. And so many different scenarios, but I would tell you that the earlier you start planning, the less decisions that you regret is probably the best way to look at that. We've had people that go, "Dadgummit, I wish we'd have come talk to you before we did this." And so what I'm encouraging you to do is it didn't cost you any more, it didn't cost you any less to get started on that plan and start planning with us as early as you can. So that being said, this job costing part is, like I said, it's go time. We're going to get these bids back and we're going to send you to the bank. This is also a good time. If you have the desire to get some other bids, you can do that. I never want somebody to sit there and go, well, this is too much money. Okay, well then you're free to go and get somebody else. The people that we recommend, that we use on a daily basis, we are recommending them to you because we know most of the time they're going to do a good job for you and they're going to respond to you. and that's why they're on our list. And so if they stop, they ever change, then guess what? We will pull them off our list and we will not get bids from them anymore. And so it's a very good relationship to look at and see who we've gotten bids from. But we always want to encourage you to, if you feel like you want to try to do better, or if you feel more comfortable with someone you've used in the past, then that's perfectly okay. Ultimately, what you spend on your house is up to you. We just want to make sure that you have a good budget for when you go to the bank, that you have plenty of money to finish the house. So, all the pieces of the puzzle are together at this point. Now we're just ready to start building. So let's look at that. Okay, so in the construction phase, we're going to give you step-by-step guidance. We're going to give you a construction manual, and you will have a planning manual also for the planning phase. And the planning manual really does a great job of walking you through step-by-step what we're covering in the planning, but also questions that you may not even have thought to ask. So it's just a great tool, as well as the construction manual. We'll put all your bids in there. It helps you stay organized. You're going to want to have this manual with you every time that you meet with us, every time you come to your job site, wherever you feel like you're primarily going to be working, making your phone calls. You'll always want to have this manual with you because, like I said, your bids will be in there, your schedule will be in there, your things to do will be in there, glossary of terms, so if somebody throws out something you don't know what it is, you can look it up real quick and not have to ask what they were talking about. And so the manual's been put together very well. It's been added to and been in use since I think the late 80s, around 88. And so it's been continually updated. A ton of information is in there. And so we really want you to utilize that, utilize us, but it's a great tool. So here, just a couple of slides I'm going to throw up here for you, showing you being hands-on. This is kind of what we expect from you. We're going to expect for you to double check some things. In this case, it's making sure that the plumbing has fall to it. So you're going to need a couple of tools, a level, a tape measure, hard hat, hammer, those kind of things. Nothing too expensive. We don't, if you want to use this for an excuse to go buy a new DeWalt set or something like that, that's fine. But for the most part, all we really need you to have is just some tools to check things with. And there'll be checklists that prompt you to check those, like measuring your foundation, make sure it's the right dimensions is on the checklist. So we want you to do that. So that's part of you managing your project. But we're also hands-on with you here. We're helping the client make a decision on making a slight change to a back door. And so there we are with the framer and the client and making some measurements there. So we're very hands-on with you, but we do expect you to do your part as well. Slab day is a very exciting day. You do a lot of work to get to this point, and so we want to be there and celebrate that with you. And so this is one of those deals where everybody shows up and it's an exciting time. And there's also a lot of work that happens that day, a lot of decisions that sometimes have to be made. And so we want you there, but it's also a fun time too. And we celebrate that with you. We call it Happy Pour Day. And so it's a great thing. So let's talk about how you save money. The sweat equity piece and the smart equity piece are the two really ways that you save money with us. And the sweat equity is kind of what it sounds like. The things that you might want to do yourself. And I put shopping in that category as part of the sweat equity piece. It's important to shop and get good deals. Sometimes your willingness to go to a liquidation type place and maybe be a little bit flexible on a flooring selection or something like that can really save you a lot of money. Now, I always encourage you to double check and make sure you're still getting good quality. The type of tile, is it rectified or is it seconds? You don't want to lay down a seconds type flooring, because then you run into problems with it not being square. So we'll give you some key advice on things to look at, but we want you to shop and try to get the best deals that you can. We feel like our suppliers offer great deals to you, but sometimes you being willing to be a little flexible on what you're looking for and find somebody that's got a lot of it that they're trying to get rid of is a great opportunity for you to save some money. And so we want you to be able to feel free to do that. So definitely shopping is a sweat equity piece of this. But also, like I said, the things that you do yourself. Again, I don't get paid on what you spend or what you save. It's just strictly on your square footage. So whatever you do in the process, I promise you, we're rooting you on to save as much money as you possibly can by still getting a good quality home. And so the more money you save, the better story it is for us. And so we're always excited to help you with that. The smart equity piece is the planning and directing, the things that you are going to do by using our UBuildIt program. The day-to-day of making the calls and the subcontractors and suppliers, you keeping track of your budget and writing the checks. Those things, by you willing to do that, usually will help you save anywhere from 15 to 20%. And with that pie chart there at the bottom, it shows the difference between us and a custom builder you go out and hire. You can see a significant amount of that goes to the fees that a builder will charge. And again, no argument, not gonna make it that they don't earn their money. That's not what this is about. It's just about you being willing to do the things that they do and trying to save that money. It's not about whether or not that's a good deal for them or not. It's if they're like me, they would earn every penny they make. But obviously, there's some things that we can teach you to do, and by you being willing to do those, put up with a little headaches from time to time, a little bit of frustration, can save you a lot of money. And so that's really our program, and the guidance that we give you, the step-by-step system that has been developed and been proven time and time again, really makes this a great program for you to save as much money as you possibly can. So I'm going to stop here with our presentation, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I kind of see going on in today's environment with prices and all of that. And I'm going to encourage you to really get with Caitlin here in our office. Her information will be down below here. And if you have any questions, if there was anything that you heard today that you're remotely interested in, excited about, give her a call, email her, and she can follow up and do a more thorough job of going through our presentation with you. But I want to take the last just few minutes here and really talk about pricing and what's been going on. We've seen a lot of things happening with the COVID in our industry that's either caused delays or shortages. And there for quite a while we saw some increases. We are starting to see some of that come back down. But the one thing that I would encourage you that is really, really important for you to take advantage of is the interest rates that we are seeing is just incredible. And so whatever's been going on from a price increase standpoint, still think and feel that the amount of money that you're saving in interest still makes it a very, very, very good time for you to build. And we don't know how long any of that will last. And so I think it's important. If you're in a financial situation where you can afford to build, now is a great time to build. And so land, if you've looked for land, it seems like you have to get further and further out all the time to get an affordable piece of property. So I would not let that opportunity go right now to maybe get you a piece of land and try to get that in a good interest rate. Because one thing that we know, I've been in the building business for 25 years, and the one constant is things go up, especially property, lots, land. It just, see a significant increase every year with that. And so do at least this part of it and get the planning part of it done, get you a lot or a piece of land bought. And then if you, like I said before, if ultimately you decide that you want to wait a little bit, at least you have the planning and the land bought so that doesn't continue to go up in price. Now, let's talk about pricing. I think it's really important when someone quotes your price that you understand what they're quoting you. And so to me, when someone quotes your price, the next thing out of your mouth needs to be, what does that include? And so are they just pricing you a shell? Are they just pricing you just the living space square footage? Are they just pricing, you know, just the house with no amenities, you know, no appliances, no development, no, you know, septic? You really need to know what they're pricing for you. Whenever we give you a price, we are trying to include everything except for what you paid for the land, because obviously you may buy an acre, you may buy 100 acres, or you may buy a lot in the city somewhere. And so we can't control that part, but everything else we're usually involved in. And so we put all of that, including our fee, into a price that we quote you. And so we really try to, if anything, give you more money to work with than, you know, somebody else. I'm not concerned necessarily about impressing you with what kind of a low number I can give you. I'm more concerned about you having enough money to go to the bank with and to have a true picture of what your house could possibly cost. Because ultimately, I know that with our program that we're a better deal for you. We're not marking things up. Our fee is in most cases around 6 to 8%, and that's all that we make on your deal. So with us knowing that, I know that somebody's not going to come and build you a house for 6 to 8%. They're just not going to do it. Why would they? With the way the economy is today, and so many houses out there being built. And so if we're only, you know, our part is only that, then that really gives you a lot of freedom there to save some money. And so, but we want to make sure that you have enough to be able to do what you ultimately want to do. And so I would encourage you all to check us out. And anytime somebody quotes your price, really check that out and make sure you totally understand what's in there. A lot of these plans, when you look at them, maybe don't have as many cabinets, or don't have as much wood flooring, or you know, the type of insulation that we're going to recommend to you. So our clients, they get more home for their money. And so so when we're giving you a price, you know, for a house, we really want you to understand that we're giving you a lot there, you know, and so it's important for you to understand that. So like I said, I'm going to wrap up with that. Give Caitlin a call, and we look forward to working with you. I hope this was some help to you. If you ever have any questions for me, just please reach out to Caitlin and I will get them answered for you. Thank you.